Some houses are just houses, mere walls and roofs built for shelter. But some houses are cursed from the very moment they are built. They do not belong to the living. They are claimed by something far older, far darker, something that waits in the shadows, hungry for the souls that dare to call it home. This is not just a ghost story. This is a nightmare that left scars on those who survived, and a house that still breathes with the whispers of the damned. Welcome to the Cursed House, where the dead never left.
The Cursed House, a nightmare from hell.
The beginning of the nightmare. In 1978, John and Linda Walker, along with their 3 children, Michael, 14, Sarah, 10, and Emily, 6, moved into a Victorian house in Rhode Island. The house was old but beautiful, sitting in eerie isolation surrounded by thick woods. It was a dream home, or so they thought. The realtor had been hesitant when discussing the house's history, brushing off questions with vague answers. The Walkers didn't press further. They were just excited to start a new chapter of their lives. On the first night, Linda was woken up by an odd sound, whispering. At first, she thought it was the wind, but then she noticed something chilling. The whispers weren't coming from outside. They were coming from the dark corner of their bedroom. A deep guttural voice muttered words she couldn't understand. The air turned ice cold, and a rancid smell filled the room, like rotting flesh. She nudged John awake, but the moment he stirred, the whispers stopped. The air warmed. The smell vanished, probably just the house settling. John muttered sleepily, rolling over, but Linda wasn't so sure. The first signs. Over the next few days, strange things started happening. The family cat, Whiskers, refused to enter certain rooms. It would sit at the entrance, hissing and growling at something unseen. Emily, the youngest, began talking to someone in her room. Linda assumed it was an imaginary friend until she overheard a chilling conversation.
No, I don't want to play in the dark, Emily whispered. Mommy says I can't.
Silence. Please don't be mad. You're scaring me. Linda burst into the room. Emily was alone, curled up in the corner, her little face pale with fear. Who were you talking to, sweetheart? Linda asked gently. Emily pointed to the closet. The lady in the black dress. The nightmare unfolds. As the days passed, the house grew more unsettling. Objects moved on their own. The chandelier swayed even when there was no breeze. Sarah woke up screaming one night, claiming a shadowy figure had been standing at the foot of her bed, whispering in a language she didn't understand. John, ever the skeptic, dismissed their fears. It's just in your head. Old houses make noises. But then it happened to him. One night, John woke up gasping for air. He couldn't move. A crushing weight pressed down on his chest, and he felt long, icy fingers wrapping around his throat. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. Then a face emerged from the darkness above him, sunken eyes, a gaping mouth filled with jagged teeth. "Get out!" And just like that, the weight lifted. John bolted upright, gasping, drenched in sweat. For the first time, he was afraid. The possession things escalated quickly after that. Linda started waking up with deep scratches on her arms and legs. The smell of sulfur filled the house. But the worst was yet to come. One evening, while setting the dinner table, Emily suddenly went stiff. Her eyes rolled back, and she let out a guttural growl, nothing a 6-year-old should be capable of making. Then, in a voice that wasn't hers, she whispered,
She's mine now.
The room turned ice cold. Plates shattered to the floor. The lights flickered. Linda grabbed Emily, shaking her. "Baby, wake up!" Emily's eyes snapped open. She let out a piercing scream, then collapsed.
That night, she wouldn't speak, wouldn't eat.
She just sat in her room, whispering to someone unseen. Sarah came running to her parents. "It's the lady," she cried. "She's in Emily now." John finally broke. He called a priest. The exorcism Father Daniel arrived the next morning, his face grim. He had performed exorcisms before, but this house, it felt different. As soon as he stepped inside, he winced. "There's something evil here," he whispered. Emily, once a bright and playful child, now sat in the corner of the living room, her head tilted at an unnatural angle, smiling.
"Hello, Father,"
She cooed in a voice that was both hers and something else. "You're too late." Father Daniel began the exorcism, sprinkling holy water, chanting Latin prayers. Emily shrieked and convulsed, her tiny body contorting in ways no human body should. The furniture shook. A shadowy figure slithered up the walls, watching. Then, Emily let out a deep, monstrous laugh.
"She doesn't want to leave," the voice taunted. "She likes it here."
The priest pressed the cross to Emily's forehead. She let out an unearthly scream, her body arching violently before collapsing to the ground. Silence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Emily gasped awake, her eyes clear. She burst into tears, clinging to her mother. The house, however, wasn't finished with them.
The escape.
That night, as they packed to leave, Linda heard whispering again. But this time it wasn't coming from a corner. It was coming from inside the walls. The family fled, leaving everything behind.
Months later, another family moved in. They didn't last a week. To this day, the house stands abandoned. Locals say they still hear screams at night. Some say the lady in black still waits, searching for her next victim. Would you dare to step inside? Subscribe for more stories.